have not been posting that much lately. I do apologize. And I'm going to start doing the live classes. I promise, I promise, I promise. Doing like a bunch of school stuff. But I want to talk about the main issue for beginners in for a while that if you do not fix right away, it's going to make your playing impossible. You're not going to see any growth. You're going to get frustrated. I don't want that. I want you guys to be like way better than I am, and I'm actually sure that some people watching this are. So the major issue is pick control. It's all about control. That is all you need to do. I want you to think about anything else, like if you were riding a motorcycle and you didn't know how to do it and you were just starting, you would probably go like nice and slow, right? Or I remember like when I was living in Hawaii, teaching somebody how to ride a moped. She's like, you go nice and slow and then a little faster and a little faster until you gain control. We need to think about that way when we're picking. We don't want to jump in on the motorcycle and just go like a million miles an hour. We're never going to gain control of it. We'll never understand how it works. So what you need to do is, I don't care what exercise you're doing with your left hand. If you guys want to exercise your left hand and do 1, 2, 3, 4s, totally fine. What you need to do is build the smallest and least amount of movement, least amount of musculature as possible. That's where your control is. So just top string, you can see I'm barely moving, right? Next string, this is it, right? Now, when that becomes normalized, we've never done that before, right? And that's why I talk a lot about with this hand, like grabbing the neck, and that's their safety. This is too. The reason that's such a safety for everybody is it's a sensation. We can feel that. If we're just doing this, I always try to put myself in the mindset of someone that doesn't know how to play just yet, which is something as a teacher I try to do all the time. So when you're doing this, it could very well feel like nothing, right? I can feel it, right, because I'm a little bit more in tune to what my hand is doing, right? But it could very well feel like nothing. So what we want is a little bit more sensation. So I need you guys to back that down and go to almost zero, all right? And just get used to that. I know it sounds crazy, right? Barely. You have no idea how much that is going to help. That is where your control comes in. If you want to start adding volume to that, that's fine, but you don't lose control to add volume. There's a few things that happen. You grab your pick a little bit more, right? You give a little bit more flick in it, right? You kind of like, instead of just going like up and down like lightly, you kind of turn down for the down pick and you turn up for the up pick, right? It's a little bit more motion, but it's not this, right? You're losing control. The reason that I'm bringing this up is because I had a student, we were doing that Green Day song. It was like picking the hell out of it, and he kept doing like right, hitting the wrong strings. He was getting so frustrated, and I said, dude, you gotta slow it down and just play like the smallest amount of movement as possible, right? But he wanted some more volume, and I said, well, this is not going to give you volume. This is your last resort for volume, and I'm going to show you guys that. Just nice and light, right? Grip your pick a little bit more, right? Gets a little bit more volume. Pick a little bit harder into it, but still, if you're building that small control, you're going to have the control to pick hard and stop it, not go all the way down. Now you're all the way out here to try to come back to the exact same place, all the way out here. To come right back to that same string is nearly impossible. So I want you guys to not only do these as exercises, super light, but take it to your playing, even power chords, if we're doing, as you guys can see, we were doing a lot of Green Day this weekend. Getting used to that is going to be so beneficial. And just because the reason that I say that is if you don't have the control, if you don't have the pick control, nothing that you play is going to sound correct. And then you're going to get frustrated and you're going to put that on the guitar, and God knows I don't want that. So that is something to think about. Now, when we're adding volume, let's just, whether you're strumming or whatever it is, let's take strumming because it's a little bit easier. Same idea when we're strumming, just as light as you can go and build control from there, right? Now with this, you get a little bit more. So now we're just going down and up, right? Nice and light. We're kind of just turning. We're doing like a little bit of a turn, right? And that's the same with this, right? We're not turning all the way like our wrist because we don't need to brush through so many strings. So we're just, the turn is like very minute, right? And like that, right? So now if I want to add a little bit more to that, I can do a turn and flick down. So that's two motions at the same time. So that's going to double your volume, right? So if I'm doing this, right, that's just kind of like using my elbow. If I'm doing this, that's the turn, right? The doorknob turn, sort of. Now, if I couple that with my wrist going down, now you have the turn and your wrist going down, doubles your volume, and then you add your elbow last. Right, that your elbow moving is going to be your last resort for volume because that's going to give you the least amount of control. So same when you're picking, right? Go nice and light, grip your pick a little bit more, a little bit more volume, get a little bit more of that flick in there, right? A little bit more of that turn, and now get a little bit more of that turn and a wrist bend, right? And you still are gaining control because you're coming from a place of control. All right, and then lastly, that if you want to do it. I mean, there, you know, because when I'm playing, if I'm doing like, I'm drilling in, I'm hitting all the strings. I'm just muting everything and only playing the string that I want to come through. So that, and that's my last resort for volume and velocity and attitude and whatever you'd like to say. So I mean, I'm pretty sure that that's what I wanted to say. Just like I get really concerned because if you don't have the control, you're going to be constantly hitting the wrong strings, constantly, and it's gonna be like, it's gonna seem impossible to get anywhere. So I want you guys to do that, and also to understand the volume that you're hearing. You know, everything's going through a mic, everything's going through a studio. If it's a record, you know, whatever it is, that you're not really hearing people just like smashing the crap out of the guitar. And to be honest, it sounds worse. You know. It's not what it's I don't know, like it's not really what you're hearing. You know, you're not hearing them like ripping the crap out of the strings. One thing I would like to say is if you check out Nirvana's Unplugged, Kurt does a lot of really great stuff. He does a lot of like I don't even, did they? Yeah, they did Come As You Are, but like he really flicks in, like right, digs under the string, gets that flick and that wrist movement and that kind of doorknob turn to give himself that kind of volume while maintaining his control. So that is a lesson I really wanted to put out there. I really hope that helps you guys. And start quiet and easy and light before you move to heavy, because the way that you start doing something heavy to try to bring that down into control is impossible. You almost have to forget about that. Like if that's where you are right now and you're playing and you're hitting the wrong strings and you're playing way too loud, you have to throw that away and start back, and you'll be better immediately. Like it's not like it's gonna, like you have to start all over from nothing. You'll be better immediately, but you have to start from there and then build. I hope that helped, guys. And I'm gonna be updating tomorrow. I have a gig. So give me one day, maybe Sunday or Monday, we'll start the live classes, and I'll try to do them as consistently as possible. Cool. See you guys.